Hello, welcome to this video on buttons. So I've just selected the rectangle tool and I'm about to draw a button. All right. So we've drawn the rectangle tool. And if we go to the text tool, I like the way that inside the rectangle tool, you can just put some text. So we're just going to type in click here. And we obviously don't want it to be like this. So we'll do my favorite font. We'll just do Verdana and we'll put it at 50. One of the things to realize when making buttons is you need to make sure you need to sort of look at your library. So you can see the click here. I'm just going to change this one to background so I don't get confused with this one. So you can see we have click here and rectangle 2, which are what we're dealing with. All right, so if I wanted to select both of them, I could do that. And then we could center it there. If I wanted to then put the rectangle 2, I could then change the color of that, right? So I want to remove that and the fill. We'll put it as let's do maybe a brighter color. Right. Yeah, I'm happy with that. We'll take that color as well. So interestingly, if you've got like, let's have a look. We've got 2 boxes selected at the moment. And let's press escape. And it just takes you back to the artboard. Interesting. Interesting. That takes you to the path if you do that. All right. Just looking. If you double click there, that was a double click. All right. So what we could do then is we could group them together. So if I press Control G, we've got a group. All right. So in the group, you can see what's happening. We've got a group. We can't click inside. We can't. I think if you double click, you see there we go. So I do single click to select the group. Double click, I'm on the click here. Single click to select the group. Double click, I'm in the rectangle. Okay. All right, so let's make sure I've got a group selected, and then we can go back here and we'll change that to component. And we're going to call this the button. And then what we can do with the button is we can do a new hover state. Okay, so what do we want to change the color of? We want to change the color of, yeah, I mean, this is the interesting thing, right? You know what I might do is, if I click on the artboard here and I stretch down, you see I can get a little bit of white space there. And what I could do is I think you can right click. Let's see. If I go to colors, yeah, if I just draw a little box here, I should then be able to add this color, which is obviously just white. It puts the border in as well, which I don't really want. Honestly, I don't really want this box at all. I just wanted to grab the color, right? And then we can just get rid of this one. So what I could do is change, so double click the text, change that to white, and then, the rectangle, let's take a look. So the click here text is white, the fill is white. Say I want to let me just see if I can just change maybe I'll change the rectangle. All right, so this basically, this rectangle color here is corresponding now. Press escape, you see I go into the button. From that position, right? I think it's always the case. interestingly, I was constantly working in the hover state there, right? Okay, so that's sort of working how I want. Well, it is working how I want, but I still need to I need to keep on clarifying it because it's like once you create the hover state, let's try another button. We'll just keep on trying to do it till I understand it better. Um, okay, so we're going to create another button. So again, we're going to draw a box. And we're going to fill it with that color. And we're going to put text. And make sure we've got text selected. I don't know why it's got so massive all of a sudden. Press escape, scale it down. Press escape. Yeah, escape doesn't put you directly in the doesn't put you directly to the selection mode in that position. All right, so we currently can you do? I wonder if you can actually do a. You can't do like a marquee selection. Obviously, I'm doing it within this box because I want to. All right, so we can group those together. Let's look at that again. Okay. So, do we do grouping yet? Let's just check. I can't remember. No. Okay. So make sure we're in our layers panel so we can take a look. Interestingly, if I go into that, it's kind of funny. It's like necessarily. I'm thinking like, can you do it without grouping? You might be able to, right? It does sort of seem like you can. Let's just to avoid like confusion here. We're just going to call this group 2. It's obviously deleted group 1 for some reason. Right. Right. So we've got group 2 selected. I guess the reason you would do that. Let's just look at that process again. So we're going to add another button. This is going to be button 2. And this is when this whole box appears, right? Button 2, right? So basically we create the hover state again. Now once this is selected in the hover state, I guess it just depends where you're selecting it, right? Because you see the problem is, right, is that you don't want to just one of the easiest things to do, like if I just change the opacity, say in the default state and then in the hover state from this menu, I just clicked on these two, it will change both items in the group, right? Because they're grouped together. What we want to do, obviously, is just change the rectangle behind it. And what it means is when we click through, I'm just going to keep an eye on this. We make sure we've got our... Let's just make sure we've got the rectangle selected. Now, what it's not telling you, it's not telling you that you're still in the hover state. That's the thing that I'm not quite sure about why it's not telling you that. But we are still in the hover state because if I do this, just put it at white. And then if we do a check on how this looks, interesting, that didn't work. This one's still working. Default state and hover state. But it didn't work. Don't know why that is. Maybe I need to close out of it. Didn't save it yet. No. So what does it do with that? What did I do differently the first time? I don't think this matters. Take a look at what is different. Doesn't look any different, does it? But what is different? Obviously, there's something different between the two things I've done there. Is it because I just changed the text and not the actual background color? It might be that. You know what it was? Maybe I didn't double click it. So it was actually on the path. Did you see that? No. Huh. Still seems to say we're in the button, but the hover state just doesn't work. Oh, it's working now. Weird. Maybe it was with that. I think it actually is that. All right, let's just keep going. Because obviously we're still not getting it, right? And that's the thing. That's always the thing with this sort of thing. You just want to keep doing it until you get it. I want to be able to basically change both the background color and because we're going to be moving on to something more advanced, so I'd like to actually get this point done properly first. All right. And it's probably, yes, I wonder if it's useful for people. I don't know. I don't know how useful this is for people. It's maybe just me that doesn't seem to understand things. All right, so here we are with our next button. And we're going to put some text in here. And this is going to, guess what this is going to say? It's going to say click here. And we're going to press escape and we're going to scale. And we're going to press escape. I think you always have to just do that if you want to, when you want to put it somewhere. Okay, so this is going to be our button 3 here. So, yeah, we can stick in. All right, so we have our click here and we have our rectangle 4. All right, so I think like in general, maybe I'm just wondering like, it doesn't matter to actually change anything to begin with. Not really, right? Because you can always adjust stuff after it's grouped. I'm sort of thinking like, what is the order, the best way to do things in terms of the order? Should we group it first? Let's try it the way that I might actually want to do it. Just create a box. And once the box is created, maybe we wanted to round the corners. Say we wanted to do this box. But we're not going to do anything beyond that. We're not going to worry about the rest of it. We're going to group that. And that's going to be called group 3. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now we're going to go to our components, and this is going to be called button 3. And we can see we've got our default state. So can we now make, now if the thing is like, if we make another state, what I'm wondering, right, is why is it, so the group itself has got a state. What I would like to do is maybe change everything. I want to make the button black and the text white for the hover state. So let's do that. So we need to make a hover state. And in this hover state, we're going to have text. Let's do the, of course, this is not the ideal thing to do, is it? But we'll make the fill not quite white, so at least we can see it a little bit. We'll just do it a little bit, right? Fill close to white. Press escape. We're in the button. We want to now go into the rectangle. So here we are in the rectangle. We can verify that here. Yes. And the fill on this is we don't want the border. And I assume everything I've done there has been in the hover state because I selected it at the beginning. So we should now see default state like that, hover state like that. And it's not worked again. Is it? What is it? What is it about that? Is it to do with it being selected or not? I do think like that isn't the way you can. It's yeah, this is annoying. Because you see, there is a component. If I added this, okay, that just creates an instance component. I don't want that. I think what that does is it places another one on top of it. All right, let's again try and troubleshoot this. I want to basically get to the point where I can do it and it actually just works first time. So you seem to be constantly showing the hover state, right? So which is the two? What is it? Maybe you need to reset the state. Let's see. I'm going to select our button 3. Default state is that. Ah. So if you test it while it's in the hover state, it doesn't work. Yeah, that's all it is. Wow. That makes no sense though. But, okay. So always put it back in towards the default state once you've finished with it. All right, should we try attempt 4? We're not finishing until we've got it working each time. I think we're at the point where it works perfectly though. I've actually understood everything. And in the next video, we'll be moving on to the next topic. Let's go one more time. We're going to create our rectangle 5. And let's just... that's not what I wanted to do. How do you... What was it? It's Alt, that's right. And we'll just create a different shape button for no other reason. We'll create our text box. And it is going to say click here. And we're going to press escape. Yeah. I'm not sure there's a... Because the problem is I can't click V from this position. I'd have to click escape, then V. I mean, it's not the end of the world, is it? Let's be honest. You know, there's no point getting, you know, too worried about that. And the fill state is we're going to go for, we're going to make the text red this time. So we have our click here and we have our rectangle 5. I'm going to click on our rectangle 5. You're going to have no border. You're going to be a fill and you're going to be a blue. You know what? Maybe it won't be. Maybe it'll be yellow instead. Maybe it'll be yellow. I always think red and blue. But you know what? Maybe we'll do yellow. So there is our yellow. Now we're going to group those together. So click here in rectangle 5. I assume you could just convert that to... Yeah, I think you're only converting to a group just out of convenience if there's multiple things in there. And so here we have our group 4. I would love if there was an option for that. You could not keep on reusing the same name there. So there we have group 4. And now we want to create a component. And this is going to be called button 4. And we're going to take a look at the default state. So this can be the default state for this button. Now we're going to create a new hover state. And within the hover state, we're going to have the text go from red to blue. So the text is now going to be blue. And not there. I'm not quite sure where we're at that point. And in here, in the hover state, and here in the hover state, we're going to have this color for some reason. Now we can press escape. So we take a look at our default state, we have that. We have different things going on there. We're going to keep it in the default state, do the testing. And it's perfect. All right, so I'm happy with that. Yeah, I've for some reason made a few buttons here, so I hope you enjoyed looking at buttons. Very basic look at buttons, but I want to get more into this program, obviously. And yeah, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.